March 16th, 1941, 23:45 hours. The frigid North Atlantic, 600 miles southeast of Iceland, where the Black Sea meets an even blacker sky, pierced only by the faint glow of a waning moon. The conning tower of U-99 slices through the swells like a shark's fin, silent and deadly. Kapitän-Leutnant Otto Kretschmer, eyes narrowed against the salt spray, scans the horizon through his binoculars. The air is thick with the metallic tang of diesel exhaust and the ceaseless roar of waves crashing against the hull. His crew, bundled in oilskins, move like shadows, whispers only, no shouts. Silent Otto, they call him, the ace who speaks little and sinks much. 47 ships already to his name, over 250,000 tons sent to the depths. Tonight, convoy HX-112 looms ahead, a fat herd of merchant vessels lumbering from Halifax to Liverpool, guarded by a meager escort. Easy prey. You can almost feel the tension coiling in the control room below, where the hydrophone operator hunches over his equipment, ears tuned to the distant thrum of propellers. "Contact, Herr Kalle," he murmurs. "Contact." Kretschmer nods, his face impassive, but inside, the thrill of the hunt surges. U-99 glides closer on the surface, electric motors humming softly to mask their approach. The Wolfpack assembles, U-100 under Joachim Schepke, U-47 with Gunther Prien, the legends of the Kriegsmarine converging for a massacre. Dönitz's Rudel tactic in full fury: spot the convoy, signal the pack, strike from within like ghosts. The first torpedo leaps from its tube with a hiss, streaking toward the tanker Athol Beach. A muffled boom echoes across the water, flames erupting like a volcano in the night. Chaos erupts, searchlights stab the darkness, escorts wheel about, but U-99 is already repositioning, Kretschmer's orders crisp and calm. Another fish away, this one gutting the freighter Venetia. Screams carry on the wind, lifeboats splashing into the icy void. The crew of U-99 exchanges grim smiles. This is their element, the happy time when Allied ships fall like dominoes. But as the second watch officer takes the bridge, a faint ping cuts through the night. Distant at first, like a metronome in the deep. ASDIC, the British sonar, that cursed invention they've been whispering about in the mess halls back in Lorient. Kretschmer dismisses it. ASDIC is clumsy, unreliable against a surfaced boat at night. They've evaded it before. Yet the pings grow insistent, closing in. HMS Walker and Vainock, those damn destroyers, are turning, their bows cutting toward the U-boat's position. Tauchen, dive. The order snaps like a whip. Klaxons wail as U-99 plunges beneath the waves, the crew scrambling to their stations. Ballast tanks flood, the boat tilting nose down into the abyss. Depth gauges spin, 50 meters, 100, deeper. The pings now hammer the hull, echoing inside like accusations. How did they find us so fast? Kretschmer grips the periscope handles, his mind racing. The wolf has become the rabbit, but only for a moment. They'll shake them off, resurface, finish the job. Deeper they go, the pressure building, rivets groaning under the strain. Then the first depth charge rolls overhead, a sinister splash, followed by silence. The men hold their breath. And then, explosion. The boat shudders violently, lights flickering, pipes bursting in sprays of water. Damage report, Kretschmer barks as another canister detonates closer, slamming the hull like a giant's fist. From hunters to hunted in an instant, what sorcery is this Allied sonar wielding?
The control room of U-99 is a tomb of flickering red lights and dripping condensation. Water sprays from ruptured valves, hissing against hot pipes. The air reeks of battery acid, sweat, and fear. Kretschmer stands rigid beside the chart table, one hand braced against the overhead as another pattern of depth charges detonates, closer this time. The entire boat lurches sideways, metal screaming, glass shattering. A crewman cries out as he's thrown against the hydroplane controls. Both engines stop, silent running. Kretschmer's voice cuts through the chaos, calm but edged with steel. The diesels cut out instantly, replaced by the eerie whine of electric motors at minimum revolutions. Every man freezes where he stands. No footsteps, no talking, barely breathing. You can almost hear hearts pounding against ribs. Above them, HMS Walker circles like a predator scenting blood. Her captain, Commander Donald McIntyre, leans over the ASDIC set, watching the operator's finger trace the unmistakable echo on the paper recorder. "Firm contact, sir. Range 800 yards and closing." McIntyre nods. This new Type 144 ASDIC, refined, lethal, has painted the U-boat clear as day, even at depth. No more guessing games, no more lucky escapes. Another roll of charges tumbles into the sea. 5 explosions in rapid succession. The pressure wave slams U-99 downward, gauges spiking past 200 meters, deeper than she was ever designed to go. Lights die completely for 3 agonizing seconds before emergency lanterns kick in, bathing the crew in ghostly orange. The chief engineer, Oberleutnant zur See Hans-Joachim von Knebel, shouts damage reports, flooding in the forward torpedo room, starboard electric motor bearings overheating, battery cells cracked and venting chlorine gas. Kretschmer wipes blood from a cut on his forehead. He knows the math. At this depth, one more direct hit and the hull implodes. But surfacing means certain destruction under the destroyer's guns. For the first time in his storied career, Silent Otto feels the cold grip of helplessness. These British escorts aren't the clumsy amateurs of 1939. Something has changed. Their pings are too precise, their patterns too coordinated. On the bridge of HMS Vannock, lookouts spot bubbles and oil rising to the surface, telltale signs of mortal damage. McIntyre orders one final pattern. 10 charges set to explode between 150 and 250 meters. The sea erupts in a roaring geyser. Inside U-99, the lights shatter for good. A bulkhead buckles with a deafening crack. Seawater surges through the breach, knee-deep in seconds. "Blow all tanks! Emergency surface!" Kretschmer roars the order he swore he'd never give. Compressed air screams into the ballast tanks. The boat rises violently, broaching the surface like a wounded whale amid the burning wreckage of the convoy. Gun crews on Walker and Vannock need no prompting. 4-inch shells and 20mm Oerlikons open up instantly, stitching the conning tower with tracer fire. Kretschmer staggers onto the bridge, hands raised as his men scramble out behind him. The cold Atlantic wind hits their faces for the first time in days. Searchlights pin them in blinding white. 43 survivors out of 48. The ace of aces, captured. As British boarding parties swarm aboard the crippled U-99, Kretschmer stares at the ASDIC hut on Walker's deck, its operator still hunched over the glowing screen. That machine, that damned machine, had seen through the ocean itself. But this is only the beginning. Word of U-99's loss flashes across the airwaves to BDU headquarters in France. Dönitz reads the intercepted signals in disbelief. 3 top aces, Kretschmer, Shepke dead, Preen already gone, wiped out in a single week. What new devilry have the British unleashed?
May 1943. The Atlantic Ocean, a graveyard of twisted steel and shattered dreams. Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz paces the map room at BDU headquarters in Lorient, France. The walls are lined with plots, red pins for lost U-boats, blue for confirmed kills. Too many red pins now. 43 boats lost in May alone. 43.
His Wolfpack commanders, once swaggering with victory tallies tattooed on their conning towers, now send terse signals that end abruptly mid-transmission. Crushed by pressure, silenced forever. In the cold dawn light aboard U-192, Kapitänleutnant Helmut Hinrichs peers through the attack periscope. He's been trailing convoy ONS-5 for days, waiting for the perfect shot. The convoy zigzags sluggishly, 38 merchants guarded by a dozen escorts bristling with new antennas and domes. Hinrichs smirks, still the same slow sheep. He orders a spread of 4 torpedoes. But the sea answers back before the eels even reach their targets. A ping, sharp, insistent, bounces off U-192's hull, then another, and another. The new Allied centimetric radar, Type 271, mounted on frigates like HMS Loosestrife. It sees through rain squalls, through night, through the very curvature of the Earth. No more safe surface approaches, no more charging batteries under cloud cover. "Alarm! Aircraft!" the lookout's scream rips through the boat. A Liberator from 120 Squadron, RAF Coastal Command, dives out of the low clouds, very long range now thanks to those extra fuel tanks the Americans fitted. Hedgehog mortars ripple from the frigate's bow, 24 contact-fused bombs arcing into the sea ahead of the U-boat's dive. The explosions are precise, deadly. U-192 shutters, lights out, engines dead. Hinrichs claws for depth, but the hull breaches in 3 places. Water roars in like vengeance itself. 48 men, gone in minutes. Back in Lorient, Donitz convenes his staff. The room is silent except for the scratch of pens on loss reports. "The enemy has robbed us of our most valuable weapon," he says quietly. "Invisibility." ASDIC, radar, air cover, code breaking at Bletchley Park, feeding convoy routes straight to the escorts. Every advantage the U-boats once held has been stripped away. The tonnage war, once so promising, now bleeds Germany dry. Survivors trickle into prisoner camps, gaunt, oil-soaked men who speak in hushed tones of pings that never stopped, of depth charges that always found them, of liberators that appeared from nowhere. One Oberleutnant, rescued by the British after his boat was sunk west of Gibraltar, stares blankly at his interrogator. "We thought we were ghosts," he whispers, "but they could see us the whole time." By the end of May, the Atlantic is no longer a hunting ground, it's a slaughter pen. Donitz orders withdrawal. U-boats pulled back to coastal waters away from the great convoy routes. The happy time is dead. Black May has broken the back of the Kriegsmarine's underwater arm. Yet in the smoke-filled war rooms of the Admiralty in London, Admiral Sir Max Horton allows himself a rare, grim smile. The tide has turned, not with a grand fleet battle, but with science, sonar waves, radar pulses, and the quiet courage of escort crews who refused to break. The U-boat captains who once ruled the waves now stare at the ocean from behind barbed wire, unable to comprehend how their stealthy hunters became nothing more than prey.
Summer 1944. The Bay of Biscay, once a safe highway for U-boats slipping out from their concrete pens in Bordeaux and Brest. Now it's a killing ground. Kapitänleutnant Herbert Werner stands on the bridge of U-415, the salt wind whipping his face as he scans the sky. The boat is running on the surface, batteries desperately needing charge after days submerged evading patrols. The crew is exhausted, eyes red-rimmed, uniforms stiff with salt and sweat. They've heard the stories, boats that left port and simply vanished. No final signal. No wreckage, just silence. Werner lights a cigarette with shaking hands. He remembers 1941, when a surfaced U-boat could sail for hours under the stars, unafraid. Now, the sky itself is the enemy. Mosquitoes, they call the British Beaufighters and Mosquitoes, fast, radar-equipped, armed with rockets that tear a conning tower apart in seconds. And overhead, always overhead, the American Liberators and British Sunderlands, their lee lights turning night into blinding day. A shout from the watch officer. "Aircraft, dead astern!" The klaxon screams. Men tumble down the hatch as 20mm flak guns spit tracers into the darkening sky. Too late. A Sunderland flying boat from 228 Squadron drops out of the clouds, its searchlight snapping on like the eye of God. 4 depth charges straddle U-415 perfectly. The boat leaps half out of the water, then slams back down, stern first. Engines die. Lights out. Flooding aft. Werner orders crash dive, but the boat is sluggish, mortally wounded. They reach 80 meters before the next attack run. Rockets hiss into the water, exploding against the pressure hull. Steel plates split. The chief engineer reports the impossible. Both propeller shafts bent, rudder jammed. They're a drifting coffin. For 12 hours, they drift in silence, listening to propellers churning overhead, waiting for the next pattern that never comes. The escorts have moved on, another U-boat to hunt. At dawn, Werner surfaces. Smoke pours from the hatch, half the crew dead or dying from chlorine gas. He gives the order to abandon ship, scuttling charges set. As U-415 rolls over and plunges bow first into the depths, Werner clings to a Carly float with 8 survivors. They watch the swirl where their boat vanished. No one speaks. There is nothing to say. The ocean that once hid them now betrays them at every turn. Across the Atlantic, in the prisoner-of-war camps of Canada and Britain, captured U-boat men gather in hushed circles. Veterans like Otto Kretschmer, once the untouchable ace, sit quietly among them, listening to the new arrivals tell the same story. Pings that never missed, aircraft that appeared from empty sky, convoys that always knew they were coming. One young lieutenant, fresh from a Type 9 boat sunk off New York, asks Kretschmer the question they all carry. How did they do it, Herr Kapitänleutnant? How did they see us? Kretschmer stares at the barbed wire fence, the distant guard tower. His voice is low, almost a whisper. They didn't just see us, they outbuilt us, outthought us, and they never stopped coming. By war's end, over 780 German U-boats lie on the seabed. 30,000 men, 3 out of every 4 who sailed, gone forever. The Kriegsmarine's greatest weapon, the instrument that nearly starved Britain into submission, reduced to rust and bone. The stealthy hunters had become the prey, and the ocean, vast and indifferent, closed over them without a trace.
September 1945, Wilhelmshaven, Germany. The war is over. Rows of surrendered U-boats lie tied up along the docks like captured beasts. Gray hulls scarred by depth-charge blasts, conning towers pockmarked with shrapnel. Their swastika flags long gone, replaced by the white ensign of surrender. Sailors in ill-fitting civilian clothes shuffle past under Allied guard, eyes downcast, carrying what little remains of their lives in small bundles. In one of the pens, a British naval officer walks the deck of the former U-230 with a captured crewman who once served under Otto Kretschmer. The German points silently to the ASDIC transducer dome now bolted to the submarine's bow, an experimental countermeasure the Kriegsmarine rushed into service far too late. The snorkel mast, that desperate Dutch invention they stole and adapted, stands folded like a broken limb. Too little, too late. The officer asks the question everyone wants answered. Did you ever believe you could win the war at sea? The German looks out over the harbor where American destroyers steam past flying victory pennants. He thinks of the happy times, of moonlit convoys burning from horizon to horizon. He thinks of Black May, of friends whose boats simply never returned. His voice is hoarse from years of recycled air and chlorine. We thought the ocean was ours, big enough to hide in forever. But they made it small. They made it theirs. Across the Atlantic, in the quiet halls of the Admiralty,
files are closed. The final tally is read in silence. 3,500 Allied merchant ships sunk, 14 million tons of shipping lost, but at the cost of 783 U-boats and 30,000 German submariners, 75% of all who ever put to sea, the highest loss rate of any branch in any army in the entire war. The Battle of the Atlantic wasn't won by battleships or carriers. It was won in laboratories, in code rooms, in radar shacks on windswept escorts. It was won by men who stood 4-on, 4-off watches in freezing North Atlantic gales, by scientists who turned sound waves into weapons, by convoy commodores who refused to panic when torpedoes struck. And it was lost by men who believed steel pressure hulls and electric torpedoes could conquer an ocean and the industrial might of nations determined never to let Britain fall. Today, the wrecks lie scattered across the seabed from the Arctic Circle to the Caribbean. Barnacle-encrusted tombs where fish dart through ruptured control rooms and human bones still rest at their stations. Silent testimonies to a war beneath the waves that nearly changed history. The hunters became the hunted. The invisible became seen. And the sea, as always, kept its secrets. Present day. A calm summer morning off the coast of Newfoundland. The research vessel Nor glides over a flat, featureless sea. Below, 4,000 meters down, lies the wreck of U-853, a Type 9 sea boat sunk in the final days of the war, May 1945. Her hull rests upright on the silt, conning tower still defiant, torpedo tubes empty. Inside, the skeletons of her 55 crewmen remain exactly where they fell, some at their stations, others huddled in the engine room, waiting for a rescue that never came. The submersible's lights sweep across the control room, gauges frozen at crush depth, a coffee cup still clips to a bulkhead, a board game half finished on the wardroom table. Time stopped in an instant of violent compression. You watch the footage on a screen in a quiet museum in Groton, Connecticut, or perhaps in the U-boat archive in Cuxhaven, Germany. And something tightens in your chest. These weren't monsters. They were boys, 18, 19, 20, sailing into a war they were told would be quick and glorious. Singing Westerwald as they left port, waving to girlfriends on the quay, promising to be home by Christmas. 30,000 of them never saw land again. On the other side, the escorts remember too. Old men now, gathering once a year at reunions in Liverpool or Halifax. They speak of watches that never ended, of depth charge patterns that haunted their dreams, of picking up German survivors only to watch them die of exposure on the deck. One former signalman from HMS Vedette still wakes at night hearing the screams carried across the water after a sinking. Both sides carry the same weight, the knowledge that beneath the propaganda and the medals, the Atlantic took everyone it could. Today, divers visit the wrecks with reverence, no souvenirs taken, no disturbance of the graves. Flowers are laid on the surface above known boats, white roses from German visitors, red poppies from British and Canadian ones. Sometimes they descend together, enemies no more, just old men and their grandchildren, paying respects to the sea's silent majority. The Battle of the Atlantic claimed more lives than many land campaigns most people have heard of. Yet it remains the forgotten fight, fought in darkness, in storm, in cold that killed as surely as steel. No grand charges, no beaches stormed under fire, just endless gray waves, pinging sonar, and the long, lonely wait for the next explosion. The hunters became the hunted, the ocean claimed them all the same, and in the end, the only victor was the deep.